My name, as you know, is Silvia Bueso. I describe myself as an expert in the art of asking. That means that I help people make the ask in a way that they can achieve their objectives. So it's about communicating, it's about relating with people in a way that we empower relationships. And of course, the art of asking has to do with loving yourself and knowing yourself. So today, the topic, as you know, is the winning elevator pitch. You're going to be doing your pitch in the 4 years from now. So this is an excellent experience and opportunity for you and your project. Okay, so let's get started then. You gave me the name of the energy that you are feeling. I think that's the most important thing. If you like, what we can do today, it's I can give you a bit of a presentation with the key ideas that I want to share with you related to the elevator pitch. I'll show you the methodology that I'm using. It's the BAIT method. I'll share it with you. And then at the end, if you like, unless I invite for participation, you can ask your questions. Is that good for you? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get started. Did you read the guide that I sent you? Did you guys read it? A little bit? No? Not much. It's okay. Okay. The method is VAIT. The V has to do with being authentic. Okay? Being authentic, this is the most important part of your elevator pitch. You have to be who you are in order to cause the impact that you want. Okay? I can tell you that I've seen many entrepreneurs pretending to be someone that they are not. And well, you could be a good actor or actress, and I think it's not the best option. I really encourage you to be who you are in full version. Okay, I can tell you the story of an entrepreneur. He had the understanding that being shy was not like a good thing in terms of persuading with his elevator pitch. So every time he was delivering his pitch, he was pretending to be funny. And he was not funny at all. The impact in the audience was exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. The other way around, I met a girl, an entrepreneur, and she thought that the only way to really impact with her pitch was by being very serious. So she became a dark gray entrepreneur. She was not like that. She had a huge and smart sense of humor. She never used it. When she realized that her natural talent had this smart, sense of humor, she became more aware of her impact. Okay, so there's a key thing for you to know, entrepreneurs. Just be who you are and do your pitch from who you are, because that's when you feel you're not making any extra effort. That's when you feel it's you and your essence. That's when you feel that you are respecting your values, and that's when you feel that you are worth it, that you don't have to play any game to be who you are. So right here, right now, I'm going to invite for participation. I think that's what I feel in the atmosphere. You said so many nice words that I need your energy now. For example, thanks to the opinion of many of my clients, I became aware, and I was not so much aware, that the two key words that define Silvia are shaker. I'm sure Javier is not surprised to hear that.
Not at all.
The word that defines who I am, I'm a shaker. I shake people up, that's true. And the second one for me, it's serene. because when I'm shaking people up and I'm doing it from a place of compassion and unconditional love, that's when I do it for a purpose that I feel is going to help the person that I'm shaking up. So right here, right now, just think of the 2 words that define best your authenticity. And you just threw them up, just launch them. Go, Alex, I can feel it. Oh, Fernando, go, Fernando, sorry.
It's all right, Alex can go first.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you so much. That got me really cold now. I would say probably I'm demanding. So that would be self-demanding and demanding for others as well. But I don't know if this is something that would apply to a pitch, so I'm not sure. And I'm probably categoric. Like when I say something, I really say it.
Okay, pragmatic and okay, determined. Good.
Yeah.
And demanding. Good. Okay, who else? So we can just go around quickly. Just say the 2 words.
Straightforward and honest from my side.
Straightforward and honest. Good one. Okay, let's go.
Realistic and passionate.
Realistic and passionate. Good combination. Good. Amleto?
I'd say empathic and inspirational.
Empathetic and inspirational. Good one. Okay.
I would say organized and pragmatical.
Organized and pragmatical. Good. Veronica?
I would say energetic and passionate.
Energetic and passionate. Good. Alba?
I would say transparent and unique.
Transparent and unique. Beautiful words. Aurelio?
Committed and honest.
Committed and honest. Wow. Amazing. Sandra?
I would say professional and caring.
Professional and caring. Lear, did you say it? I think.
Calculated and thoughtful.
Calculated and?
Thoughtful.
Okay, good one. Good. Did everyone say? I think so. Okay. So as I said, the method VAIT, the first one, it's about being authentic. And that means that now that you know your 2 key words that define you, you gotta make sure that you represent them when you communicate your pitch. This is easy to say, I know. That's why I invite you to ask the people you communicate to if they can see these energies and values on you. Okay, because sometimes we forget who we are when we are in front of when we are on stage speaking in front of a lot of people. So these are the 2 key words that I would love to see you representing and being doing the pitch in the 4 years from now. This is a compromise, guys. Do you take it? We take the compromise?
Yes.
Compromise. Good.
I will rethink the words and then take the compromise.
Okay. Well, this is just an exercise for you. Okay, so about the pitch, before I get started, there's many things you gotta do before the pitch for the 4 years from now. Okay. The first thing that I invite you to do is investigate, ask a lot of questions to know who is going to be attending your pitch. Who are the members of the jury? They are all investors. So the time has started right here, right now. You gotta put a lot of energy and a lot of focus to know who is gonna be there in the chairs listening to your pitch. That's a key element. Okay, and that's something that it's your responsibility. This is your key responsibility. You can only ensure your pitch has an impact if you first know who are gonna be listening to you. And this is already a work you have to do, okay? I think Amleto, maybe you have a bit of background noise? Could be. Now, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Amleto. So this is the key point. Asking the questions so you know who is going to be attending. Imagine, you know, in the audience, you find investors and you also find teachers, or maybe you find potential partners, or maybe you find out that, I don't know, university students, or maybe your customers are going to be there, or maybe your suppliers. So the more you know about who is going to be listening to your pitch, you will have more chances to adapt your pitch to the audience. And this is your responsibility. And you gotta ask the questions now before the event. Another thing that I invite you to do is, what objectives do I want to achieve in this specific event? Okay. And when I say objectives, I mean objectives that you can achieve because they depend on you. Of course, you want to have $3 million. Of course, I know, but just think of objectives that you can achieve in this specific event. And I invite you to separate between professional or project-oriented objectives and personal objectives. For example, I remember the case of an entrepreneur. He was very shy, and it was like his second pitch in his life. So one of his objectives was to feel more confident during the delivery of his pitch. So what he did as an objective was ask for feedback, selecting five people, like 5 persons in the audience, and ask for feedback about his pitch and his style. That was a personal objective, okay? He, of course, had professional and project, objectives that he wanted to reach. He wanted to close like a meeting with an investor. So he did the work before the pitch and after the pitch to ensure that this objective was achieved. So I kindly invite you to think of the objectives that you want to achieve, separating the personal ones from the professional ones, okay? And make sure they are realistic, okay? So this is something that can happen, so you will feel better if you define objectives that are reasonable to achieve, okay? So that's it. So if you have the objectives well defined, you can then see what's the best approach for your pitch. You can then define when and what are you going to be doing during or before the event, before the pitch and after the pitch, to ensure that these objectives happen. This is part of the planning, okay? This is part of the planning that it's your responsibility to prepare in advance. Very important thing, okay? So now you can start thinking objectives, whatever you like. So once you know who is your audience in this specific event, then you know the objectives that you want to reach, then you can start thinking about your pitch. That's very important element. So here, the key message that I want to send to you is that we are all zombies. Okay, this is the key message that I'm sending out today to you. What does it mean that we are all zombies? Javier is a zombie, Sandra is a zombie, Aurelio is a zombie, we are all, I am a zombie. That means that we are highly disconnected. It's very difficult to attract people's attention because we are constantly distracted and interrupted by our own chat. 95% of the communication we keep is with ourselves. And depending what you say to yourself, you're going to be causing and provoking a reality. For example, if you're in front of the stage and you're about to start your pitch, and in this entire dialogue that you're keeping with yourself as a zombie, you keep saying you're awful, you're not ready for that, you're not a good professional, this energy is going to be projected to the audience. Okay, so here I invite you to really pay attention and be very conscious of the messages that you send to yourself in this internal chatting. Okay, because what you say to yourself is going to be projected to the audience, and it's going to be impacting the audience, and it's going to be impacting yourself. Okay, so for example, if in your internal chatting you say, I can make it, these are my 2 values, I want to be unique and passionate, as you say, I want to be determined and clear. You know, if you really are who you are and you keep this energy, there's more chances that the energy you project to the audience is the one you want. Okay, there's no way we can stop the internal dialogue. That's why, as an entrepreneur, you gotta be caring to yourself, and you gotta be conscious of what you say to yourself. If you don't pay attention to that, you might get trapped by the words that are not helping you. Okay, so this is the first exercise. Okay, managing your zombie and managing your internal dialogue, being conscious of what you are saying to yourself. Very important element. Okay, for example, I remember this entrepreneur. He was completely nervous. It was like his first pitch ever. He felt not ready. He was comparing himself with entrepreneurs who had, you know, senior experience. So he was constantly in conflict with himself. He was kind of being demanding in a way that was not helping him. So with this entrepreneur, we decided, you know, to really breathe deeply. He needed to connect kind of with his inner self, to accept that it was his first pitch, and to really assume that he would do his best. And the only way we managed, you know, to control his attitude at that moment when he was feeling nervous was by breathing. So before the pitch, like 5 minutes before he had to go to the stage, he went to the bathroom and started breathing as a way for him to connect with serenity and calmness. He had a picture of his favorite mountain. So by looking at the picture and by breathing deeply and slowly, he could manage his inner dialogue. He could control and decide who he wanted to be and feel good in front of the stage. So here you gotta find your way. There's many different ways. I can just give you this example, okay? But it's important you are aware of your internal dialogue and find a way to overcome the fears or these kind of messages that you get. Okay, once I've said that, the difficult part is that in front of you, in every chair of the audience you're speaking to, you have a zombie. Can you imagine the difficulty? You are a zombie and you gotta manage yourself as a zombie, and every single person in the room about to listen to yourself is a zombie. That means that apart from your internal chatting, there's other dialogues, internal dialogues in the room. So if you are speaking in front of 200 people, there's a 201 your internal dialogues going on. This is so complicated. So once you manage to control your internal dialogue, you got to become aware of the zombies you have in front of you. That means that when you are about to start your pitch, you have these 200 zombies, your audience, who are also keeping the chat with themselves. They might be thinking, tomorrow I want to go take my wife out for dinner. Or they're thinking about, let's send the email to this client. Or maybe they're thinking about, I forgot the shoes on my boy or my son for the school. So we are constantly being interrupted, you know, by our internal chat, plus the dialogue that the audience is keeping with themselves. So that's the difficulty of the pitch. That's the difficulty of the pitch. If you were thinking that pitching was about memorizing your monologue and launching into the space, this is, you were completely wrong, completely wrong, completely wrong. Delivering your pitch has to do with accepting the circumstances that you didn't choose and adapting to them so you can cause the best impact in the audience, accepting that they are zombies and accepting that you are a zombie. So forget about the pitch, forget about memorizing things, and I invite you to let go control. Only if you let go control and you pay attention to the audience, the pitch is not about you, it's about the audience that you have in front of you. Okay? There's a bit of noise, there's a background noise. Let's see, thank you. So you are not so important when you deliver your pitch. The audience and of course the circumstances that you find, you don't choose the circumstances, you find them, they become crucial for you to leave a print in the audience. Okay, you are a zombie, the audience are zombies. You gotta control your own zombie and you gotta become aware of the energy and atmosphere of the audience, of the space. So here we get into the methodology again. The VAIT method, the V is about being authentic, and the being authentic. The A is about awaking the zombie. Okay, so awaken the zombie has these 2 points of view. One, managing your own zombie, and second, managing and becoming aware of the audience, the energy in the space, the kind of the attitude that you see in the audience. How are they reacting? What is going on in the space when you are about to start your pitch? So awakening the audience are the first 10, 15 seconds before you open your mouth and blurt the first words of your pitch. Okay, so imagine the situation. Imagine, you know, you're the second entrepreneur about to deliver the pitch, and the previous entrepreneur who did the pitch left the room completely gray, and everyone is yawning because the pitch was awful. Everyone in the audience, you feel the audience, they are kind of connecting to the mobiles, they get distracted, people leaving the room, and it's your turn. You get on stage, and because of the previous entrepreneur, whatever he or she did, the impact in the room is boring, people distracted, disconnected, and it's your turn. It's your turn. What are you going to do in order to change the energy in the room and awake the zombie, awake every single person in the audience so they are ready to listen to you? Okay, so you ensure they are present in the here and now to listen to your pitch. It's your moment, it's your day, and you want to make sure the majority of the audience, you know, are ready to listen to your pitch. And it's your responsibility. You cannot blame the previous entrepreneur. You cannot blame the previous entrepreneur. It's your responsibility to accept that the circumstances change, that the energy in the room is not the most appropriated, so the audience listen to you, and you got to change it. That's why I'm inviting you to be proactive and assume that is your responsibility to provoke a change so the audience is ready to listen to you in the here and now. Okay, and I can give you many examples for you to understand. Because what happens if you kind of ignore what happens in the space, you ignore what you think that the audience is feeling, and you start your pitch. What happens is that you lose impact. You lose impact. And the worst thing is that you lose the opportunity to leave a print, because I'm sure that probably the audience, they are ready for you. The thing is that because of the previous circumstances, the energy there is not helping you to attract their attention. So you got to do something there to change the energy of the space and to attract the audience attention. This is your responsibility. For example, as I was telling you before, I remember there's many examples. Like one that I really liked a lot, that's the case of a guy, an entrepreneur. The audience was completely, very noisy, moving around, chairs, people, kind of going here and there. So this guy, what he did, it was his turn. He was on stage. So he remained silent. He remained silent, and he gave like a huge smile to the audience. That was it. That's how he attracted the attention of the audience. The silence has an effect that is very interesting, because it's you are kind of surprised, because you feel, what is this entrepreneur just standing up and not blurting a word? So that creates, an impact that is going to help you get the ears of your audience. This is one of the techniques. So as I say, it's your responsibility. I also remember that was the case of an entrepreneur. Again, the audience was, I think the previous pitch was very good. So the people in the audience, they started talking to each other, getting distracted, connecting to the mobile. So what this entrepreneur did, he took his mobile from his pocket and he did the same. And he started talking, hey guys, I'm doing the same. I'm posting an Instagram message saying that the entrepreneur pitch was great. I'm doing the same. Tell me when you are done so I can start with my pitch. That's what this entrepreneur did. So as you can see, you don't choose the circumstances. You just have them there. So I invite you to say yes to the circumstances and create from the circumstances. So you create like a connection from the circumstances to the pitch, so you don't make the audience feel bad. You don't want to be in front of the audience and say, please, everyone silence, it's my turn. So find a way that you can get the attention that you deserve. Remember, you deserve it. You're worth it. You deserve it. You're worth it. And it's your responsibility to do it in a way that you accept circumstances, you don't make the audience feel stupid, remember that, and you create and build the pitch from there. Another example that I want to tell you, this is the story of a guy. He was about to start the pitch. Don't tell me why. A baby started crying in the middle of the room. I was like, what? What is a baby attending a pitching event? Yes, we had a baby in the room. What happened to the audience? The audience, the zombies, they were just looking to the baby. The baby got all the attention. What did the entrepreneur do? Did he blame the audience? No, he didn't blame the audience. He went to the baby's place because he knew, the entrepreneur knew, that by going to see the baby, he could grab the attention of the audience. That was the point. The focus of attention of the audience was the baby. So that's why the entrepreneur went to see the baby and talked to the baby live with the microphone. I'm so glad we have a baby today attending an entrepreneur event. And he asked for the name of the baby. What's the name of the baby? And from there, he went back to the stage and he did his speech referring to the baby's name. Did this entrepreneur know that a baby was attending the event? No. Did this entrepreneur know that he needed to adapt? No. He accepted the circumstances. He said yes to the circumstances without blaming himself or blaming the audience. And he adapted his pitch letting go control, letting go the memorized structure. And he created a story from the baby. And he accepted the audience energy. He didn't reject it. He knew that the baby was the focus attention of the audience. And from there, he built the whole story. So you can see there's a lot of work to do. So awakening the zombie, just summarizing the first 15 seconds of your pitch. Awakening your zombie is yourself, your zombie, and understanding that also the audience, they are zombies, and it's your responsibility to gain and grab their attention. Very important one. Okay. Okay. The second, the VAIT method, being authentic, awakening the zombie, and impact the topic. Okay. The third point is impact the zombie. Okay. Impact the zombie. Okay. Okay, Il. Hello. Impact. Maybe you have a bit of background noise, Il. Could be. There's like a bit of a. Just mute your computer if you can. That'll be fine. Okay, so impacting the zombie is once you have catch the audience attention, you gotta take into account that the audience, because they are zombies, they cannot retain kind of too many messages at the same time. We are so simple. But think also of you. We need kind of really know what's the topic of this entrepreneur. Okay, so when we say impact the zombie, these are the following 15 seconds when you just mention what's the main topic of your project. What are you going to be talking about? And you got to do it in a way that is easy to understand. I mean, don't take for granted that the audience know what you know. So it's in a way you position the topic of your pitch in a way that it's impactful for the audience and in a way that they can easily pick it up and remember you without you being in front of them. If this is again 15 following seconds after awakening the audience. Why do we need to do it in a very impactful way? We need to do it in an impactful way so we can still keep the audience connected to us. Okay, we want the audience to keep them connected to us, to the project, to what we are going to say. So here, many examples. I remember you have the example, for example, this guy used like a big image. It was a big image, and from there, I think it was a big butterfly. He wanted to say that they had an application that allowed them to really know what music was being projected in all bars in Spain. So this big butterfly was the way for them to explain. Our applications know all the music that is being played in Spain. So that was a way, using a visual, so the audience, as zombies, they could kind of keep the image of the butterfly and the topic, application of music. Very simple. Another way to impact the zombie and explain the topic is asking a question to the audience. You can ask a question. When you ask a question here, I invite you to do it in a kind of slow motion. Okay, because when you ask the question, you as an entrepreneur, because you know your project, you know what you're going to be talking about. The audience, they don't. So I invite you to prepare like a short question, and also pronounce very well and leave a bit of a space between the words, so the audience can really, imagine and get into the imaginary of the question. Another technique that you can use to impact the zombie and focus on the message, the key message, is just to share like a relevant information. Like, do you know that 50% of the world, just use like detect relevant data that can be, you know, a very impactful way for you to introduce your topic. Okay. Here, in Impacting the Zombie, when you present your topic, you can also use your slogan. It can be a great opportunity to just, you know, just spread your slogan so the audience can understand the topic and a bit of the mission or a little bit of your project. Okay, so Impacting the Zombie is just making sure the audience know what you are going to be talking about. You don't take for granted that the audience know you. Okay, of course, depending on the audience you have in front of you, you will choose one way or another. That's why I'm saying that the investigation you do in order to know better the audience is a key part. The better you know your audience and the style and what they prefer and the words and how expert they are, you can then choose the best way to impact the zombie and decide if you use a metaphor or you use an image, whatever. Okay, but this is a very important part. I also remember the story. That was the story of a girl, an entrepreneur, who left like a experience box. It was experience box in each chair of the audience. And when she was about to present to Impact the Zombie and present the topic, that's what she said. I'm here today to talk about experiences, and that's why you have a box in your chair. The box, it's a secret. Don't open it until the end of the pitch. So as you can see, in less of 15 seconds, this entrepreneur managed to really focus on the topic and help the zombie audience understand what was she talking about. Third, create expectations and a bit of mystery so she could ensure that the audience was going to listen to her until the end, so people could see the box and discover what was inside of the box. Okay? So, Impacting the Zombie, just 15 seconds. Find a relevant, impactful, creative way to present your topic in a way that every single person in the audience can understand what you're doing there, what you're going to be talking about. Okay? The following part of the method is telling the story. Okay, so we have be authentic, awake the zombie, 15 seconds, impact the zombie with the topic, 15 seconds. Tell your story is the most relevant part, as you know. This is where you're going to be talking about your project. What's the problem that you are solving? What's the solution? Who is going to be solving it? How are you going to be solving it? The team, the financial model, the financial things. Very important, of course. Here again, you can ask me, as you always ask me, what should I explain? Depending on the audience you have in front of you, and depending on the target audience that you have decided, you will choose where to put more attention, where to put more time and attention. Will you be dedicating more time to the financial part, or you'll be maybe putting more time on the team? As I told you, once you know who is attending the pitching event, and once you know more in concrete, who do you want to seduce, because you know there's a investor who is your ideal investor, and you know that this guy likes pragmatic information, likes pragmatic way of presenting, likes numbers and figures, and likes to know the team, you will then adapt your pitch to this specific objective. Okay, that's what you will do. So that's why the exercise of knowing who is going to be in the room listening to your pitch and who you really want to convince, it cannot be 200 people. You cannot convince 200 people. I remember the story of this guy. I'm going to tell you now. We found out that his ideal investor was attending the event. When we found out, we did like, wow, we put a lot of time doing a strong research. What does it mean? We went to the homepage of the investor. We saw the projects that he was supporting. We spoke to entrepreneurs who received funding from this investor, so we could know his style of communication, so we could know how did this investor prefer to receive the project, what type of documents, what detail, what type of delivery. We asked all type of questions to really know well the style and preference of this investor. The day of the event, the entrepreneur arrived to the forum 2 hours in advance. Why? Because he wanted to make sure that the investor was attending. And if yes, as happened, he wanted to have a conversation beforehand. Okay, so the entrepreneur arrived, had a little chat with the investor showed interest and said, yes, I'm glad you're telling me, I really like your project and I'm ready to listen to your pitch. So as you can see, there's a lot of work you have to do. What happened then? You're gonna be amazed to know more about this story. When this entrepreneur was on stage, ready to seduce this specific investor whom he had investigated for days and days, don't tell me why this investor had to leave. From the face he was showing this investor, we understood it was a personal problem. Okay, the entrepreneur in that moment, because he knew he was his only objective, it was his ideal investor, he stopped the pitch. He said, sorry audience, I gotta talk to the investor before he goes. He followed the investor, he went down the stage, followed the investors to the room, and when he was about to go out, the entrepreneur asked the key question, can I call you next week on Wednesday? And the investor say yes. And before the investor, just went, the entrepreneur said, I hope everything is well with you. And of course, the conversation on Wednesday took place. Did the entrepreneur choose the circumstances? No. Again, it happened. The circumstance happened. He accepted the circumstances. He co-created. He stopped the pitch. He said sorry to the audience. He went follow the investor and asked the right question in the right moment. And at the same time, he was caring. He was very caring by saying, I hope everything is fine for you, investor. And I don't know what it is, but I hope this is fine. They had the conversation on Wednesday. Okay, so again, you can choose all the time how to react in front of unexpected situation and circumstances. I only invite you to say yes to the circumstances, to let go control, and focus on what is possible from there. That takes courage and risks. That's part of the game. That's why you are entrepreneurs, guys. So that's part of the game, okay? So again, telling the story, you will decide what to explain in more detail or less based on the decisions you've made before. Who in this specific audience you want to convince? Is it like the customers that you have discovered that are going to be there? Is that you have like a partner that it's also attending the event and you want to make sure that this potential partner has an impact? So based on the objectives and who you want to seduce, and it's got to be a small number of people, you cannot seduce 1,000 people at once, you will prepare this part of your pitch and decide how to prepare it. Depending, you have investors who are very emotional, other more pragmatic. So depending on the style of the people you want to seduce, you will adapt your style. So you will ensure that your project lands in a way that I don't know, it's more satisfying for your target audience. Okay. So again, this is your choice. Another thing that I'm going to tell you, and I know I told you I'm a shaker, and I want to continue being a shaker. Please don't use PowerPoint. Don't use PowerPoint. I'm tired of PowerPoint. You are the best PowerPoint with legs. You are the best PowerPoint with legs. The audience, as a zombie, they get distracted. I'm telling you, the methodology that I have created is because I know we are zombies and the audience, they are also zombies. The more complicated we make it with channels, the video, the podcast, a beautiful girl and the baby crying, the more elements we add to the space, we have more difficulties in managing all, and there's more chances we lose the connection with the audience because they get distracted and they go back to the chatting. Okay, so no PowerPoint, no PowerPoint. You gotta go naked. You gotta go naked in front of the audience. You are the best PowerPoint with legs. If you do that, of course you can, for example, another story I remember well. This is the case of an entrepreneur. Well, he wanted to use the PowerPoint. No, we didn't use the PowerPoint. I was so excited he didn't use the PowerPoint. And at the same time, he said, Silvia, I have difficulties in remembering what to say and when to say it. Great, let's work on finding a creative solution. What we did is we asked different kind of members of the team, of this project team, to be seated in different parts of the space in the audience. And we invited every member of the team to raise the hand and ask the question. Okay, this way, the entrepreneur delivering the pitch had like a little guide. I mean, the entrepreneur knew that his team members were going to ask the question in a very specific order, so he will know what to say and how to answer. Okay, this is easy, guys. Easy. It was fun. The team members felt part of the game. And you can find other ways. You can ask the audience to ask these questions and prepare that in advance. Whatever, or you can have whatever you like. But please go naked without PowerPoint. You are the best PowerPoint. You are human, and humans like to see humans in action. Okay, so that's my invitation for today. Whatever you do will be okay. I know you will do your best, and I'm just pushing you a little bit, because I see lots of pitches, and every time I see a PowerPoint, you gotta be so much aware of your space, and if you're just looking to the PowerPoint, you lose the connection. Complicated, okay? So that's the message. Once you tell your story, as I'm telling you, you gotta make at the end the call to action. The call to action is very important. Again, 10 seconds, the last 10 seconds of your pitch. Last 10 seconds of your pitch. Remember, the zombies, the audience, they need an easy way to remember you. So this is where you gotta launch your best kind of campaign, like a message that is gonna be remembered by your audience, or something that is gonna trigger your audience so they can know how to best help you. And you gotta be very clear. For example, I mean, at the end, what you want is the audience to be talking about you. I don't know. If you have investors, investors will be talking to investors. If you have students, students will be talking to students. If you have teachers, teachers talk to teachers, consumers to consumers. So what you want is to ensure that you leave a print on the zombies audience mind, so they can be talking about you when you are not in front of them. So if you have an investor who is having dinner that night, you gotta make sure that this investor talks about you and has like a sentence printed, so he can launch it and to other like equals as he is, other investors, for example. So here you can use the slogan as a way, to really, wow, 4 words that can be easily remembered by the zombie audience. You can also, as I said, the call to action, you can also be very specific in what you need or what you're looking for. I'm looking for marketing partners. This way you trigger the audience, because when you're clear on what you need, those wanting to help you will feel that they are being called into action. So that's the purpose, okay? Be specific. If you say, I'm looking for investors specialized in technology and women, be very specific. This way, those wanting to help you will be triggered and willing to connect with you when finish the pitch. Okay, so the call to action, again, 10, 15 seconds. That's when you leave a print and people will remember you. That's what you want people to remember about you. And you want them to talk about you when you are not in front of them. Okay, that's the key objective of the call to action. Okay, and then that's it. That's the methodology. Being authentic, be who you are, accept who you are, finding techniques to overcome, you know, your fears, your limiting beliefs. So you got to listen to your internal chat and know what you're saying to yourself. Awaking the zombie, especially the audience, making sure you are conscious of the energy in the space and the feelings in the audience, and you are responsible and provoking interest so they listen to your pitch. Okay, you have impact the zombie. That's when you present the topic in a way that the zombie audience can easily follow you and in a very impactful way, so they can really, they feel connected and they want to be listening to you more. They feel like, I want to know more, if they continue connected to you. Telling your story, that's when you tell the project details, and depending on the audience target you have, you will decide what to explain and how to explain it. No PowerPoint. You're the best PowerPoint with legs. You're human. We want to see you shining with no other elements interfering. Zombies get distracted. And the call to action, 10 seconds, the gold seconds. You can live like a slogan, so your zombies, the zombie audience can be talking about you when you're not in front of them. That's the best thing can happen to you. And call to action so you can trigger those willing to help you. Very key element of this methodology. There's a lot of work to do before the pitch. What do you know about the audience? Who is going to be attending? Who is my target audience? What do I know about my ideal investor, ideal customer? What are you going to do to have all this type of information? What questions are you going to ask? When you finish the pitch, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of a new story. It's your responsibility to check the objectives and make sure they happen. So if you had an investor who attended and you didn't manage to close the meeting, find ways to close the meeting. You have 72 hours. There's around 72 hours that the audience can remember you. So whatever you do, 72 hours after you pitch, the zombie audience will remember you, so you can catch up and try to push for your objective to happen. It's your responsibility. I want you to fall in love with the circumstances that you don't choose. I want you to fall in love with being spontaneous, to co-create from what is present in the room. I want you to enjoy loving an audience that you never know what's going to be doing. And forget about memorizing things. Forget about blaming others. And of course, I invite you to love yourself. It's very difficult what we do as entrepreneurs. And of course, sometimes as humans, we don't feel good. Or we feel tired that day. And maybe, you know, we're very demanding, no? As you said, and that day we're not feeling very well. We had a discussion with our partner. We had a fight with our whatever. So we're human. So I also invite you to really take care of yourself. And it's okay. It's okay. Everything, it's okay. Everything, it's okay. So that's the methodology, BAIC.